Hi, Xavier fans. I'm Drew Dunley. Right now, I'm with head women's soccer coach Woody Sherwood. Woody, you just completed your third season here at Xavier. You've had time to settle in a little bit. How do you feel things have gone?
It's been a little slower process than we would have liked. I think overall, considering what we took over and where they were in terms of wins and the culture, we've made some huge strides. You don't do this for 18 years, though, and be excited about being below 500. So we've had some small victories in there, and we obviously hope that next year, in that fourth year, that's the time where we finally have got the right chemistry, the right mix of players, and right level of talent, where we see a little more success.
You got off to a great start this year, 6-4-1. What were some keys to the early success early on in the season?
I think one of the big things that was different this year, and early on it helped us, later on it didn't quite help us as much, was as deep as we were. In terms of we were playing, a lot of Friday, Sunday games where we'd go 18, 19 deep on Friday to allow us Sunday to be able to survive in some of those hot days and with some of that weather, especially considering some of the games we're playing home and away on turf and what that turf temperature is like August, September. So I think that was one of the big things is we had some kids come in pretty fit where we were able to play maybe 2-3 more kids a game than we had been the year before.
You had to play 5 straight Atlantic 10 road games to open conference play. How do you feel that contributed to the conference record?
It started out well in terms of we got that first win on the road at Rhode Island in a monsoon after a tough travel trip. That's one of the furthest places we can go. From there, we went on to UMass 2 days later and was one of our poor performances. We really didn't show up like we'd like to. It's always tough playing on the road in the A10, and certainly with the travel that we have, it's probably even a little tougher. To get 5 in a row, with that 5th one being the Dayton game, which was originally scheduled for our place and it got moved. But, for our kids, we talk a lot, like a lot of coaches do, about adversity, and we never gave them an excuse with that. And the plus side was then we got to finish the year with 4 at home.
What was it like in conference play adding 2 new teams in Butler and VCU to the schedule?
It really changed the dynamic in terms of because you added 2 teams that finished 3rd and 5th in the conference. So it wasn't like you were adding a 15th and 16th place team, and it was 2 teams that we draw to play. So having to play those guys was great in terms of 2 really good teams, but it certainly was a tough schedule for us.
And what were some of the highlights and memorable moments from the past season for you and your team?
I think one of the big ones was Northern Kentucky University, which went D1 this year, and we were their opening Division I home game ever at their place with 1,200 people. And that's a program that's had a lot of success on the national stage in the Division II level. And for us to get that goal in overtime and win that game on the road, that was huge for us. I think the Rhode Island win, getting on the road going 1-0 UMass, or 1-0 with Rhode Island was huge. A couple late home games in the year where kids could have thrown in the towel, and they didn't, and we were competitive and really played some of our best soccer against some of the top teams late in the year. That was a real positive to build off of going into the spring and 2013 fall.
Any individual performances that stuck out in your mind throughout the season?
Katie Marksberry is always going to stand on our head a couple times a year and make some unbelievable saves for us. But, our MO isn't necessarily that we've got that 20-goal scorer, that first-team All-American kid that stands out in terms of game after game. We've got a solid group of kids who fundamentally get the game, are technically decent enough to be able to execute what we're trying to do, and are athletic enough to be nationally competitive. Certainly you'd like to get to the point where you do have those kids you're talking about that are scoring 15, 18 goals a season. Our one all-conference kid from a year before was out this past year, Lauren Heap. We look forward to getting her back and seeing if she can rise back to that level she was at.
What has the team been doing since the end of the season to get ready for next season?
Well, we didn't have any time off. As soon as our last game was over, we actually went into our 2 days a week of NCAA allowable training, 2 hours of soccer, and kicked up the strength conditioning component as well. The biggest thing we've been doing really in terms of those training sessions were charting possession, because we felt like a big hurdle for us is getting over that giving the ball away a little too often piece that seems to show itself for us these last couple of years. So that's one of the big things that they heard about once the season ended, and we really started posting that regularly in the locker room, and we'll move forward into the spring for it. We've upped some of our fitness standards going into spring games. which we think will change a little bit of a mentality piece, as well as obviously the fitness component, which you need to have at a high level to be able to compete at this Division I level.
And are you already excited to get going on next year, the 2013 season?
We are, and it starts a little early for at least one of our kids. One of our incoming 13s is coming in early. She'll be here in January, so another 4 weeks we'll get her. And to implement her into our system is going to be great, just for that learning curve to be accelerated and get a whole spring season for a kid to get to do that, as opposed to the traditional enrollment where you come in and first day is preseason practice, and a week later you got an exhibition. A couple days after that you have a real game. So that's one of the things that 2013 we're looking forward to. Then that class in general it's got right now, we'll have 9 or 10 kids coming in, and it'll be some really good competition, I think, in practice for some playing time.
All right, Woody, thank you for joining us. Good luck with the off-season training and workouts, and we look forward to seeing the team in 2013.
Thanks for having me, Drew.